Good afternoon, and thank you so much for staying with us. We'll take you live to the NPP headquarters pretty shortly to get you the very latest on the filing of nominations by the former Education Minister, Dr. Adutwum. But for the meantime, the NPP flag bearer in the 2024 election, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, has officially filed his nomination to contest the NPP's flag bearership race, declaring himself the most prepared candidate for the 2028 elections. Now, addressing supporters at the party's headquarters, Dr. Bawumia said he owes the NPP a duty to secure victory in the 2028 elections, stressing that this election represents the very soul of the party.
Myself to be elected as flag bearer because I believe we owe a duty to this party to give her a choice to put forward the most prepared candidate for the 2028 election and the most prepared person to be president in 2029. In the last 16 years, I've had the privilege of joining each and every constituency at least 5 times to work hard on the ground and campaign and work for the NPP. Just like the thousands of you who may not have had all the money in the world to throw at the party, all my sweat, my reputation, my knowledge, and my person have been dedicated to working with you for the success of the party. As a result of this, there is no village or hamlet or city or town where Mahamudu Bawumia's face and name are not known. I owe this party a duty that if we are to win 2028, we ought not to start afresh from zero. Instead, we ought to build on the nearly 42% of valid votes and work across and work to cross the 50% mark in the next election. I have also had the distinct privilege of serving as vice president and supporting the president and the government in our last administration with ideas that have significantly impacted the lives of millions of our people. This is what the streets refer to as being rich in ideas. The initiatives I advocated for in our time today are making impact in people's lives.
Well, that's former Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia there speaking soon after he submitted his nomination forms. But as we speak now, former Education Minister Dr. Adutwum has also submitted his forms and is at the NPP headquarters. Let's cross over there live to speak to our correspondent or our reporter on the ground, Kenneth. Jesse, Kenneth, what can you report?
Right, so those are supporters of Dr. Adutwum, the former education minister, and also the MP for Bosomtwe. He just delivered a speech to the supporters after submitting his nomination. He's presented himself as the best candidate to lead the NPP to victory 2028. He says he's only going to speak to ideas. He's not going to speak ill of any opponent whatsoever. And of course, I have one of the persons within his campaign to speak to us. You are live on Joy News. What's your position in Adutwum's campaign?
I am part of Dr. Adutwum's communication team. My name is Nyameba Alex Odame.
You've seen all the people come to submit their nomination forms. You've also seen Adutwum do his. If you look at the momentum, do you think momentum is on his side?
Momentum is on his side because majority of the people here you see are delegates. You can randomly check from the people who are gathered here present. Majority of them are delegates. We saw other candidates, people from nowhere yesterday. We saw kits, wearing other candidates' paraphernalia. But you can see this is organic love from the people. This is organic love from the voters who are going to decide on who becomes the flag bearer of the new Patriotic Party.
And the same can be said of you also, that you also backed people to come and just for show.
These people that have come here in buses are people who are delegates. I mean those who have the voting rights in NPP. Not people who have been buzzed here to just come and make noise. These are people who felt they wanted to come and support Dr. Adutwum because they are delegates. They have voting rights. You can randomly ask and see. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. So that's a member of Dr. Adutwum's team speaking to us there. He says that all the people that have come here are delegates who have the votes, and he believes that Dr. Adutwum will emerge victorious. I have another person here I would want to speak to. Can we speak to you briefly? This is Joy News.
Okay.
Turn around. Are you confident that Adutwum will win?
Yeah, I'm very, very, very confident. I'm very, very confident that Adutwum will win this position because the good work he have done in Bosomche district, around the country, this country, in terms of manufacturers, he have done for the whole country of Ghana. That's why Adutwum will win this contest.
What campaign message is he selling to the people?
I will send the campaign message to the delegate that they should vote for Adutwum because he can help the Ghanaian people in terms of education sector.
Okay, thank you very much. So that's another supporter of Dr. Adutwum. So he is the last person to formally submit his presidential nomination forms here at the new Patriotic Party. Today is the last day for submission, and earlier the former vice president and the party's 2024 flag bearer Mahamudu Bawumia submitted his as well. And then yesterday we had Kennedy Agyapong, that's the former Assistant Central MP, submitting his nomination forms, and then also the party's former General Secretary Agyapong submitting his as well. And then we had Brian Agyapong, the former Agric Minister, submitting his as well. So the contest really takes off from here. Every candidate says that they are the right choice to lead the party. Every candidate believes that they are the ones that delegates are going to select. And of course, as you can see in the background, you hear cheers, chanting and dancing from the supporters who have come from all over the country to support the former Education Minister and MP for Bosomche, Adutwum, there. So as I mentioned earlier, that's the final submission of nomination forms here at the new Patriotic Party headquarters. Adutwum is the final one. He is one of 5 men who have declared intention to contest, who picked forms and submitted their nominations subsequently. One of them, that is Adenimo, dropped out yesterday, saying that he is not going to be contesting again. And I have a key figure in Adutwum's campaign. That's the former spokesperson at the Ghana Education Service here. We'll be engaging him briefly. You see that he's having a chit-chat with the people here. We're live on Joy News. Let's speak to you briefly. Are you impressed with the process that happened today?
Oh yeah, it's a normal process, a normal party process. The process was announced to us, and we as party people will definitely will have to conform to the regulations as set out by the party. And that's why you remember when the intention was made, we made it known to Ghanaians, plus the party as well. And when we picked the form as well, we made it known, and you were there as well. And today was the day that we needed to submit the form, the last candidate to do so. So we've subjected ourselves to the process, and we are satisfied with everything. Where we probably may not agree with the process, we will definitely use the party structures and engage the party leadership to seek some reforms in the whole process. So for now, nothing has come up yet. maybe probably when we begin to review, that we may look at what the issues are and definitely draw the party's attention to it.
He made mention that if your pastor tells you, if you ask your pastor who you should vote for, and he mentions the name that you should vote for, that is the person you should vote for. Who has your pastor told you to vote for?
Dr. Adutwum. There is no two ways. I wouldn't even think twice.
Is that what your pastor is telling you?
Yeah, definitely. I'm a Methodist. I'm a Methodist, and I believe in my hymns. Do you know this song, A Child to Keep I Have and a God to Glorify? A time to serve the present age and a calling to fulfill. Yes. And that is the calling that we are fulfilling today. And that is why I keep on making that assertion that we have a duty, a clarion call to rally support behind Dr. Yao Adutwum. A man, when his name is mentioned, the only thing that you hear Ghanaians saying is it the man who promotes STEM education? Is it the man who is seeking to educate everybody and make a better living for the good people of Ghana? Is it the one that you are talking about? And that is what the good Bible tells us. Look for knowledge. When you get the knowledge, use it for the benefit of your people. He's a man that we can rally support behind to ensure that we bring prosperity to the good people of Ghana. And that is why we are with him.
So when do you kickstart your campaign?
The campaign has started. The engagement that he had with the teaming people here today testifies the coming days how it will be. But we believe that this is an internal contest. And if I'm looking for the polling station chairman for Briabwa polling station in Subin constituency, I don't think I will have to come to my Joy News to announce that I'm looking for the polling station chairman for Briabwa polling station. I know where he is. I know where I can get him. I know his phone number. Therefore, I go straight to him to engage him, for him to understand my message and be part of me and begin to broadcast what we stand for and what we seek to achieve together collectively as a party. That is what we believe should be the order of the day. But the bend and slash politics that we do not conform to that. We subject ourselves to the dictates of what democracy is, what the NPP stands for. And that is what we have demonstrated today. And that is what we are doing and engaging delegates on that.
Final one. One of the contenders, Kwabena Agyapong, when he submitted his forms yesterday, that said that he's calling for an open debate between the potential flag bearers to share ideas. Is that something that the Adutwum campaign welcomes?
Yeah, we will subject ourselves to anything that the party deems fit. Definitely, we know the NPP is a democratic party. These are brilliant suggestions that people will bring out, and the party will definitely consider all views and call all aspirants to sit around the table, and we agree into what the modality should be. So when that time is due, definitely we'll be represented, we'll make our voices known, and when the decision is taken, we all rally support behind the decision and work with it as expected.
Mr. Yao Pokumenso, thank you very much. He's a former spokesperson of the Ghana Education Service and now a member of Dr. Yao Adutwum's campaign. So really, he summed everything up that they believe that Dr. Yao Adutwum is the right candidate to lead the party to recapture power in 2028. So these are the scenes here at the campaign office. It's been a very busy day. It started in the morning where the former Vice President Mahamudu Bawumia was the first for the day to submit his nomination forms, and of course it was followed and ended by the former Education Minister Dr. Yao Adutwum, who's just concluded his remarks here, courting the support of delegates. So that really is what has transpired so far today at the new Patriotic Party's headquarters. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you so much. That was my colleague Kenneth Ejese coming to us live from the NPP headquarters here in Accra. Now, joining us live on the telephone is a member of the Dr. Bawumia campaign team, Akosia Meno. Also on Zoom is Akwesi Kwachen. He speaks for the Kennedy Agyapong's team. Thank you for joining us here on the polls. Let me start with you, Akosia Meno. First of all, congratulations to you on the successful filing of the nomination this afternoon. What's your initial thought on today's process so far?
Good afternoon to your viewers and to you as well, and to the co-panelists. and I believe joining live in studio. Today's process was overwhelming and humbling at best. It gave me great joy to see the support from the rank and file of the party. Persons who have served in various capacities within the party came together to support Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia and his wife, Hajia Samira, to file their nomination. And it was also important to notice how his speech resonated with those present, especially his call for unity. Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia highlighted his long-standing service to the party. He's always held the party's best interest at heart. And I would say for me, I'm happy that he is still in the race, especially because he symbolizes what this party needs going forward.
All right. What is new when it comes to his message?
Now, Doctor's message is one of consistency. It is clear that he's the most marketed candidate. Before he contested, he hadn't been on the ticket or on the ballot of the party. He's built trust with the party's rank and file. He deserves to lead, and we have to take off from where we left off in 2024. Also, for his candidature, he can actually point to a blueprint of success in having championed, for instance, digitalization. And if you look at our present situation, the current government right now, they actually admit that gold for reserves policy and also our digitalization drive is what has helped the economy to rebound. We cannot ignore this fact, and I believe even in your studios a couple of weeks ago, you highlighted what the Deputy Governor for the Bank of Ghana, what he alluded to, and those were policies as championed by Dr. Bawumia when he was in government. This is a blueprint of service. You can actually pinpoint to it. It's not a vision he's espousing. It's actually things he's done and will continue to do. So he's bringing his commitment, his vision, his drive, his consistency, and in pointing out the fact that he knows what we need. He knows where we need to get to, and he's ready to do it.
Right. Let's look at the speech that he delivered, part of it, when he said that instead of starting from scratch, the party should build on the 42% about that it secured in the 2024 election. What was that for?
It's important to note that because the one thing that stands between, or I would say beyond all his characteristics or pluses, the one thing that we not have is the time to bring in a new flag bearer. The advantage we have over the NDC is time. Time because as a party, we have to get ready for 2028 and we have to elect a flag bearer who is ready. We will not lose advantage we have over to the NDC. Bringing in a new person would mean we have to, go through everything, whatever is in their code that they're hiding that we don't even know. But when it comes to Dr. Bawumia, he's checked many boxes: good character, consistency, commitment, trust, loyalty, a visionary, competent, dedicated. There's never a single mark of anti-party behavior from him. It's important that as a party we rally behind him and push him forward, because what he has as a candidate is advantage of time because we've already marketed him. He's the most prepared candidate. He's the most formidable candidate, and we can't lose sight of that. Anybody who loves this party should embrace that fact. Yes, we would have our differences every now and then on who we support, but the majority of the party know that it is the right move to back Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia again.
So he believes that giving the opportunity to the other four will be disastrous for the party, especially for the 2028 election.
Absolutely. We do not have the luxury of time. If we want to go hard at 2028, he's our best bet. And I'll say on record on any given day, he's the best president Ghana has yet to experience.
I see. We'll delve into those things. Let me bring in Kwesi Kwarteng, who speaks for the Kennedy Agyapong team. Your reaction when Dr. Bawumia said instead of beginning from scratch, the party needs to build on the 42% thereabout that it secured in the 2024 election, which means that I mean, your candidate should go to sleep because he's yet to even secure the party 1%. He's been able to secure about 42% in the 2024 election. I think he's making a good sense, right?
Oh, he didn't add our candidate should go and sleep. Don't sensationalize this and put this out of context. First of all, let me congratulate His Excellency Dr. Bawumia for the successful filing of his nomination. Election is a process, it's not an event. And I must commend the entire team for the good work done. Record we also did ours just yesterday. And of course, I mean, per the dictates of democracy and how we have been doing our body politicking, obviously we have the opportunity to comment on each other's process. I just want to touch briefly on the logic of the 41%. And I am of the view that it sounds a bit deceptive and dishonest. And this is my point. You see, elections are not necessarily continuous. Each election is independent on the other. If we are to sustain the logic that indeed Dr. Bawumia is to have 41%, then it presupposes that the NDC might as well be having 56%. And that should essentially mean that, I mean, there's no point even going into this election even in the first place. Because the moment you want to sustain that argument, then you should also give the opportunity for the opponent to also maintain whatever votes that he had. Essentially, what it means is that everybody will start on an entirely and completely different note. Whoever is coming may have to convince the good people of Ghana on his track record, on his credibility, on his marketability. Again, it is important not to confuse visibility with marketability. Marketability is acceptance, and you can be visible and not be necessarily accepted. In the case of Dr. Bawumia, I mean, without any disrespect to him, he's been our former vice president. He's done so well in many ways. But I would say that, yes, I mean, the party has been there for the past 32 years. He's been extremely visible, the most highlighted for the past 16 years. I mean, almost more, just like half of the years that the party has spent. That should not necessarily translate into marketability. He has been much visible, but in terms of his marketability, he has not been accepted. I mean, the data is he's a data man, and mostly we refer him to the data. Because as I speak with you, he led us into an election, and as I speak, out of 9 regions, having about 98 parliamentary seats, the party were able to galvanize just 5, and then this in 93. In terms of even the performance of Dr. Bawumia himself, I don't want to repeat the statistics, but for instance, if you look at even the northern part of the country, for instance, he's doing minus 16% of his boss previous performance in 2020. In 2020. If you look at the other 11 regions within the Southern Belt, he's doing minus 33% of his boss previous performance. If you look at the general performance, he's doing around minus 31%. And of course, I mean, the nominal values, we are looking at almost 1.7 million votes difference. 1.7 million votes difference is not just 9%. We have to look at the nominal votes. We went into an election where almost 2.1 million of our voters of our party members that voted for us in the last election, the previous election, refused to vote. So it's not just simplistic to suggest that Dr. Bawumia already had 41% and any other person coming in is going to start from zero. I mean, does it also necessarily suggest that obviously if you look at 2024, NDC is also going to present a new candidate. So then where is the remaining 56%? Where is it going to? Is the person also starting from zero? If the person is starting from zero, then per extension of that logic, Dr. Bawumia may have as well be having 100%. So there is no need for such an election. So for me, the logic of the 41%, it sounds deceptive and it's unnecessary. We must be very bold and very open to ourselves before we'll be able to organize ourselves for 2020.
But you do accept the fact that he's the most marketed among the 5 as we speak. He stated that clearly, and that is not in contention, right?
No, he is the most visible among the 5 because he has had the opportunity of being the former vice president for the past 8 years. Beyond that, even before that, he was around for the preceding 8 years, making it 16 years. So yes, in terms of visibility and the opportunity to be visible, he has gotten that. But I'm saying that if you want to check the meaning of marketability translates into acceptance, and he has not been accepted enough. If you look at our slope, from Adutwum 1.2 million to Kufuor, taking it to 2.8, Kufuor the second time 3.5, Kufuor again 4.5, Akufo-Addo the first time 4.5 to 5.8, and again to 6.7, then downwards to 4.1 million. You cannot call that marketability. That is an outright rejection from the good people of Ghana. And of course, I mean, I'm not necessarily blaming him for such a level of rejection. But if the caveat and the key word is marketability, then it cannot be sustained within this context. So maybe at best, he has been the most visible candidate. But in terms of marketability, which in essence is acceptability, he has not been accepted.
But recent polls actually put him ahead of the other four, even within the party itself, that delegate.
There has been a lot of polls even preceding the previous. You see, for polls, polls may put him ahead in terms of the delegates, but at the end of the day, we don't run the country with only MPP's choice. We obviously have to come together and run the general elections. In terms of the general election, it is the same Musa Dankwa who said that in terms of Dr. Bawumia's candidature, if we bring him again even 100 times, he's going to lose. So even the polls, the outcome of the recent findings of Musa Dankwa in regards to the delegates polls is just a red sign and a very alert warning, huge one, red warning, alerting us that we should be careful. But that look, as a party, if you don't work hard and change leadership, revive the party with a new face, with a charismatic leader, with a disciplined leader, with a leader who has built the credibility over the years, with a leader who is coming to create jobs, that new face, that person who is introducing the new revival of the party and still do things in the old ways, like the Israelites were determined to move in a certain direction and God gave them so. The outcome will be that the country is going to crash. So in our case, we believe that we have to present a new candidate. We have to separate what the polls indicate from the party. I mean, it's just to give us a feedback that yes, the party people, I mean, within this space may be aligning with him, but it's just a warning sign to tell us that if we don't change him, we go to the general election based on the same poster, we are going to lose that election. And of course, I am surprised. I don't even think the DMBs can believe in that, the poster, because recently, if you recall, Mr. Marcus Abwaje even once the spokesperson of DMB recently once described the poster as a lotto forecaster. So I'm not sure even they have trust and confidence in that post. But
having listened to Dr. Bawumia this morning, briefly, did you get his message? Any different from what you've heard in 2024 prior to he becoming the flag bearer?
I mean, to be fair to him, he spoke like how he ought to spoke. And nothing more. I mean, as a former vice president,
anything new? Anything new?
I'm yet to be privy to. But aside that, I mean, Dr. Bawumia has been around for the past 16 years, 8 years actively as a vice president. A lot of the things that he mentioned are things that we've been hearing for the past years. I mean, is there even a more reason why people genuinely and strongly believe that in the spirit of revival and, I mean, total unity of the party, we need a complete overhaul by getting a new direction and a new face. But, I mean, aside that, a lot of people believe that it will be the same comments, the same rhetoric, because, I mean, 16 years, I'm not sure there will be any exceptionally new idea. Within 16 years,
is that to suggest he's run out of ideas?
Oh, that would be very unfair and disrespectful to him. But I'm saying that reasonably, if we've been around for the past 16 years, the expectation is that all good ideas would have been something that would have come on board. I mean, it doesn't matter whether you're able to translate them into results or not. But most importantly, within 16 years, the expectation was that we'd have brought all ideas. We do not really believe in ideas, but we believe in ideas, creativity, innovation, and power. Because without winning power, those ideas will just stay in the bedrooms of individuals and become open.
All right, Kwesi Kwarteng, thank you so much for speaking to us. Let me give the final word to Akosua Menu. You may want to react to some of the things Kwarteng has been talking about. The fact that you're about 42% really will not make any reason why you should be making the argument for Dr. Bawumia to be retained, because, of course, all of you are going to start on a new page and you need to fight the NDC in that regard.
I think I chuckled a bit on the side when he tried to downplay the fact that Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia is the most marketed candidate. Now, if he is to go by the figures he gave assigned to previous presidential hopefuls, one thing that he cannot deny is that on the ticket of the NPP, every NPP candidate that ultimately became president tasted defeat before they became president. Former President Kufuor tasted defeat. In fact, his first attempt yielded a 39% compared to Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, who finished with 41.75%. Former President Kufuor did not have any of the challenges, or I would say even half of the challenges that the previous government had going into an election that sought to do something unprecedented. And what was that? That was to break the eight. So if he wants to downplay it, I find it a bit disingenuous, but of course, it adds to their propaganda and marketing strategy. What we also have to realize is that for most presidential aspirants, their votes appreciate. You don't need to, you may decide to believe in Musa Dankwa or not. I mean, I have my reservations as far as his methodology is concerned sometimes. But what is unique is that all other posters have always put DMB ahead. And Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia is poised to lead again because he's the most formidable candidate.
Right.
All the boxes that are required, that are ticked as far as even the party is concerned. Good character. He's a visionary. He comports himself. His emotional intelligence is at the highest. He understands what the party needs. He knows what to say, when and where. And he also knows how to unite this party. I'm saying so because a lot of comments have been made which are somewhat divisive, and it doesn't speak to the sort of quality expected in leaders within the party. And it's important that going forward, we realize that we don't, not one camp is required to win an election. At the end of the day, it has to be easy for everybody to come on board. And the things that we see ultimately affect that effort. That's why Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia does not take any delight in throwing for shots at other aspirants. He's focused on his message. And he knows that out of all of them, he's the most presidential. I'm not to say that the others don't look presidential, but he knows what he has. He knows what he carries. And like he said today, he may seem quite cool on the outside, but he's very, 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 very determined. And his resolve is unimaginable. So we know what we have in presenting him again. And I'm asking all the delegates within the party to rally around the elephant and push Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia to lead it once again. Thank you very much.
Delegate actually receiving your message, briefly.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
I was asking you how our delegate, the delegates of the party, I mean, Dr. Bawumia has been speaking and he's been meeting them. He himself said he's had a number of engagements with them. And I'm asking you, how are they receiving his message? Yeah.
Okay, so the messages of, I think the common thread for most of the delegates is that if the NDC is going to present a new candidate who will have to be marketed to Ghanaians anew, fresh, why would we want to put ourselves in the same position of marketing a new person when we already have the advantage of somebody who's already marketed? That's what delegates are saying. And the delegates always get it right. NPP delegates always get it right. They got it right with former President Kufuor. They got it right with former President Adutwum Kufuor. And they're going to get it right with Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. As I said before, every presidential aspirant who became a candidate and ultimately became a president tasted defeat once before they became president. And sometimes they even tasted defeat twice. At the end of the day, the person who's tasted defeat already and it hasn't shaken his resolve, he still has a positive outlook towards Ghana and towards the party is Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. And I believe that we will be on the right side of history if we side with him again.
All right. Thank you so much for speaking to us here on the pause. Let me give the final word to Kwesi Kwarteng briefly. You want to react to some of the things Madam just said?
Yes. Just a quick one. Is on this second chance argument that she introduced. The records are there that in NPP, second chances are not given to presidential candidates just as a reward for showing up, and we should not institutionalize that. It has always been contingent on performance. And I find it difficult why anytime they are given a true and historical account of our party, they try to omit the leading founder of the party, Professor Dubois. He had 30.29%, but yesterday he was dropped. President Kufuor had 39%. President Akufo-Addo then moved President Kufuor's first time to 49%. And then if you look at Dr. Bawumia's first time, then drop it to 41%. So if you look at the trend, the graph shows that it's on an ascending graph. It is only Dr. Bawumia who now came into the descending position and dropped our votes. So it cannot be said that, just because the person contested earlier, he should be given another opportunity. In any event, NDC is going to present a new candidate next election in 2028, whether they like it or not, because President Mahama is constitutionally barred to contest it again. So what is preventing us to also present a fresh face to also contest the new candidate that NDC is presenting? At the end of the day, the two of them, granted without even admitted that the two have not been marketed, they stand at par. And the good people of Ghana will decide. 2028 is not really about marketability. People will still market a product and people will still not buy.
All right.
Is that the trust that people places on the candidate. And if you look at the Dr. Bawumia, there are a lot of issues that people may refer us to. Assuming today the dollar is maybe maintained as 10 cedis. How do Dr. Bawumia and his team convince Ghanaians that the 17 cedis where he left, as a party, of course, together, but he was the leader of the economic management team, was better than the Mahama's 10 cities. So clearly, it will be difficult for us to market Dr. Bawumia again. It is a more reason why we believe that a new face will help the NPP in the 22.
Point well made. We appreciate your time. Kwesi Kwarteng speaks for the Kennedy Agyapong's campaign team, and Akosua Menu speaks for the Dr. Bawumia campaign team. But we are joined on the line by the Deputy General Secretary of the NPP, Haruna Mohammed. Thank you so much for your time. Now the forms have been submitted. What next?
Thank you very much, Carlos. I will say good afternoon to your cherished listeners and the two gentlemen, the gentleman and the lady who have represented two of the aspirants who have submitted their nomination. There's one thing that I would like to bring clarity to. The NPP is a democratic party, and in terms of contest, in terms of votes, we have never presented a criteria of performance. We've always presented persons who have laid themselves to contest in terms of their ideas, in terms of their work to the party, in terms of their work and all that. So delegates have always decided, and it is not because of performance. It could be one of the reasons that people will vote for. So that is just what I want, because we have never presented and says that this particular issue is what we have to look at. So I think that all of them are making very, very, very important messages to the people, but it is correct for us to be able to put other issues in perspective for it to know that they are voted based on the credibility of the persons and based on various ideals that delegates may decide to put, but not on one critical principle, and that is on performance. I don't think that has always been the jacket in terms of performance voting. After this has been submitted, we have had series of arrangements as to how this whole process is going to go. After the submission, we'll have the vetting of prospective presidential aspirants, and vetting would start from September 15th to, that is Monday, September 15th to September 22nd, and that's also be Monday. So after vetting is done, there will be recommendation of the vetting committee to the National Council through the General Secretary, and that will be done on the 29th of September. There will also be submission of petitions, if any, to the National Council, to the National Executive Committee through the General Secretary, and this one will also be done on September 30th to October 2nd. That is when the list or the recommendations are made after vetting has been done. If people feel that they have been disqualified and they feel that they have to petition, so a window of petition has been opened for them through the outline that has been put, and all this is found in the forms or nomination forms as been submitted by the various candidates. The next National Council meeting is also scheduled on October 7th, 2025, to look at those particular petitions. We have done so because these petitions, if we have set up a committee, the committee would have looked at the petitions and bring their recommendations before National Council for consideration. So these petitions should come straight to the National Council, and National Council would look at it straight on, take decisions on them, and communicate decisions to those who have put up the petitions. If they are to be called before Council, Council will call them and hear them in Council meetings and take decisions on them. So after that, we'll have publication of lists of qualified presidential aspirants, having given the opportunity to all persons who feel one way or the other if they are disqualified. Then we will now have the certified list, where we'll then make it very public and publicize it on Wednesday, October 8th, 2025. Then balloting of positions on the ballot paper will also be done on the 10th of October, and that is Friday, will also be done. Then publication of notice of poll, which is one of the standards of conduct of elections, will also be done on the 17th of October, 2025. Then the National Congress will come on the 31st of January, 2026. And if there is runoff any, then it will be done on the 14th of February, Saturday, 2026.
Right.
This is what is going to happen after the filing of the nomination.
Okay. Thank you so much. But before we let you go, tell us about Akwetia. I believe you are in Akwetia, and we hear the former vice president himself is in Akwetia. What's happening in Akwetia as you speak?
Thank you. We are in Akwetia since, I've been in Akwetia since Monday. We're going around and doing all manner of things. One of the signals that we are picking is that the NDC is clearly going to put uniforms, police uniforms on the attacks, having realized that they would not have the leeway of what they did in Agyapong. They will be putting uniforms on their men who are not police officers. And we are sounding this to the police authority. The police profession is a professional institution, and we are asking the IGP to ensure that there are name tags on all these officers. We are also requesting that no police officer should put on mask, because we are going to identify all those who are not police officers and they are wearing uniforms. And we assure the police that we will have citizen arrest and send these people to the police for them to deal with them. Again, the NDC has also put up a narrative that they are going to be giving people 500 Ghana cedis to vote. And we are also telling them, these people are minors. You have come, you have reduced the price of the gold, how you buy it from the people, from 13,000 to 7,800. The difference you are bringing is what you have cheated them. You are sharing these monies to them. They will still take it and vote against you. I am telling you that we are going to win the seat. No intimidation will stop us from what we are doing here. We are talking to the people, and the people are realizing it. It will interest you to know that in the 2025 budget of the NDC, they have not made a single provision for any development project in the Akwetia land. No single provision. And again, if you check the mid-year budget, the review, the big push, there's no single project for Akwetia. So they don't have any intention to develop the Akwetia constituency. And I don't think that this is something that is right. Again, they have made a statement that is very dangerous to the people of Akwetia. How can you vote for the NDC candidate in honor of Mahamudu Bawumia? Was it the MP of the place? Please, we should stop insulting the people. They had one MP, and the only person they can honor is Honorable Yao Ns Kumi, who was their representative and unfortunately has been called by his maker. And these are the few things that we are observing. The barriers that have been created within Akwetia, some of them is going to delay the movement of voters into the centers. We call on the IGP to look at it and make sure that something is done about that. But for the grounds, we are holding on, and we are going to make sure that we will honor Ernest with this particular seat.
All right, we'll leave it here. Thank you so much, Haruna Mohammed, for speaking to us. Haruna Mohammed is the Deputy General Secretary of the NPP. And you are still watching The Pulse with me, Carlos Caloni. We'll take a short break. We'll return with more. Please stay. The election, the NDC and NPP have been locked in a heated exchange of allegations and counter-allegations over plans to rig the poll. At the heart, there's the need for certain things to be done about it.
Amount of money voters and 120 polling stations. So what? And they have precedent from Ablekuma North, and definitely they have to prepare.
No, I think that, you see, and especially now, it's so unnecessary. It's a waste of our state funds. Look, the NDC has such a big majority. Whether they win it or lose it, it won't change anything. That's number one. So I thought that in this national mood, the political party that is holding the seat to nominate a replacement and save us all the aggro. Now, when you have a by-election, everybody, all the top brass of the two parties and their so-called vigilantes and everybody's descending in that
replacement for the by-election process.
Let's get the party that has won the previous election to nominate to complete. This is a no-brainer. I mean, in Ghana, we are obsessed with constitutions and all that. Yes, it was made for man, for ourselves, and we've operated it for over 30 years. If there's something that we can change, why not? Police time, electoral commission's time, parties' time. Parties are now raising money for a seat that won't change anything. It won't change anything. And for me, it's a complete waste of everybody's time. I'm not interested in this.
Well, a governance expert, Professor Bafwa Jimadwe,
can see that same party nominating and bringing somebody in. I think it's a very fair way to manage it, because the idea of representation will have been addressed by the fact that even though the original candidate elected by the people no longer exists, the party won it for 4 years. And I think there are some democracies that practice that. Then the issue of the cost, which is very real. Look, just that we do not discuss the cost of security in the country, and therefore we don't know how much we expend on deploying 1,000 police people, not to mention the army also being deployed. All this for about a week, just because we're going to cast elections. That may not add any value to our democratic process at all. Then thirdly, look at the emotional, psychological effect of by-elections. Because unfortunately, in our history, 32 years of this republic, almost every by-election results in violence, one form or the other. So you ask yourself, after all this, what value do we get? We don't. So I think it's proper, and I know some democracies that practice this. When a parliamentarian or legislature passes away or becomes incapacitated,
a suggestion or proposal, or you think this is fair, ideal, democratic, and even less expensive?
I'll tell you, I proposed this idea some years back when I was, so I don't have any problem at all with that. We need to move on that. And now we know that we're having constitutional review process.
Right.
So this is the time
to ensure that there's peaceful elections. And I was always when the police was there, the security was there. Kumsum was the guy ran, he fell, they started beating him, the police was standing just there. When he was lying there, crying and bleeding.
Let's shift our attention to some other stories. Fresh controversies erupting over findings of the Ridge Hospital alleged assault investigative report, which established no evidence of physical assault on the victim, Chucho Bote. Now, the 7-member committee tasked to investigate the matter on Wednesday presented its final report to the Health Minister, Kobina Minta Akando, which contradicts some allegations of the nurse in question. My colleague, James Abeji, has been providing some details on what the report actually said.
Key issue of controversy in that report as one of the terms of reference of the committee to establish as to whether or not there has been an assault as alleged by the victim. And per the committee's report, it says that although there is a video evidence of a verbal altercation between the accused person, Ralph, and the nurse, they are yet to receive any video evidence or witness account of the alleged physical altercation or attack on this particular nurse. They said regardless, the nurse in question the next day reported to the hospital sick and was treated, and her report is that she sustained some injuries on the left hand and shoulder. But the committee said the medical reports that they received from the hospital, it did not indicate any evidence of fracture to her left wrist or dislocation of her right shoulder joint, as she has alleged. Now, another issue is to also find out whether there has been delay in attending to the victim at the hospital. The committee report says there is no delay in attending to the patient with suspected head injury, who was the reason behind the agitation by Ralph and the motorbike riders. However, it was found out that all the diagnostics imaging equipment, including X-ray, CT scans, MRI, and others, were faulty and non-functioning. And so all images requested at the emergency department ought to be done outside of the Greater Accra Regional Hospital. And this has been a contributing factor to the delay and disposition from the initiation. And so it raises another question as to how the committee on one hand says there's no delay, and then on the other hand said the fact that they had to do some of these examinations outside the hospital caused some form of delay. And so those are the key findings. The recommendations are that the government takes steps to retool the Ridge Hospital as well as other hospitals, and then beef up security at some of these hospitals to forestall this moving forward. Right. So the nurse in question, speaking on GH1 TV, indicated that she has a video in her possession of the gentleman in question assaulting a pregnant woman in the face, and that he hit the woman in the face, and that the committee failed to invite people like her to tender in that evidence, for which reason she said she questions the report and also claims that she has that evidence, and that if the committee or any member of the public, especially the media house she was speaking with, requested, she will make it available. And so they are not more or less questioning the outcome of the report. What is left now is for the ministry to indicate whether, or the committee to indicate what they will do moving forward with this fresh allegation and this fresh piece of information that is coming out from the nurses through their PRO.
Now let's do some environmental stories, because the era of the popular takeaway park may soon be over, as the government takes steps to phase out styrofoam in the country. The move follows concerns over the filth it leaves in the environment and the choking of gutters. Border checks have already been mounted while intensive stakeholder engagement continue. My colleague Maxwell Klobotu has been speaking with the Chief Executive Officer of the Environmental Protection Authority and brings out this report.
Styrofoam packs, popularly known as takeaways, have long been a common choice for food packaging across the country. But amid growing concerns over their environmental impacts, the government is now taking a firm stance against their use. The move follows a directive from the President of the Republic, John Dramani Mahama, who in early June 2025 called for actions to phase out the use of styrofoam in the country. Speaking at the inauguration of the Environmental Protection Agency and the Ghana Atomic Energy Commission's board, the Chief Executive Officer of EPA, Professor Amma Brown Kluche, told Joy News that the agency is already engaging key stakeholders to facilitate the ban of the use of styrofoams.
We have started engaging stakeholders, the Ghanaian public who use the styrofoams, to start looking for alternatives to the styrofoams. So our next is to issue official letters and do media engagement as well on it. For now, what we are doing is engaging those stakeholders. So our next step is issuing official official notices to all Ghanaians on that, and then we see to the ban. We believe that though the president has stated it, we need to engage stakeholders in the disuse of it before we go on the complete ban.
She further noted that inspection offices have been established at various border points as part of efforts to prevent the importation of styrofoams into the country.
We've set up offices at the port of entry into Ghana. So currently we have a physical space at Tema Port, which is the main entry, and then we'll have other spaces at the other port of entry, the landed port, Aplao, Paga, Elubo, all these areas. We are going to have physical presence there so that we monitor closely item that comes in.
The EPA says it remains committed to enforcing policies that protect the environment. Reporting for Joy News, Maxwell Aklobotu, Accra.
Well, this styrofoam issue is a big matter, and we recall that the late minister also raised concerns about this and told us that certain steps were going to be taken by government to ensure that it's banned properly. But there's been some, lack of clarity around how government is actually going to be doing this. And so we'll be speaking to the EPA boss pretty shortly to get some clarity on that matter. But before we do that, the Greater Accra Regional Minister is cracking the whip on metropolitan, municipal and district chief executives, handing them a 2-week deadline to repair all broken street light within their areas. Addressing the media at the Regional Coordinating Council office, Linda Oklo stated that the RCC has secured 3,000 street lights, which will be shared among the MMDAs, with each receiving 100. She added that fixing street light issues within their areas, promoting proper sanitation and enforcing bylaws will be part of their assessment. Well, we'll bring you that story shortly. But joining us via Zoom is the Chief Executive Officer of the Environmental Protection Authority, Professor Nanama Brown-Kluche. Grateful for your time here on the pause. Now, Prof, the EPA has begun stakeholder engagement and set up border inspection offices to actually curb the styrofoam import. But how soon can Ghanaians expect a full ban to take effect, and what timeline is the authority working with?
Thank you very much, and good evening to your viewers. We have started the stakeholder engagement towards the phase-out of stylophones in Ghana. Thus, we received a directive from the President of Ghana, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, during the World Environment Day. So it was announced for every Ghanaian to hear. What we are doing at EPA is to gradually engage our stakeholders, engage all Ghanaians, the producers of stylophones, to phase out. As I said, we are approaching this slowly because we believe that we need to engage our stakeholders before we finally ban it. So we are engaging and advising that they look for alternatives to the packaging. Paper packages are allowed. Aluminium foils or aluminium packages are allowed, but not stylophones. We can use reusable bowls, which is also allowed. And these are the conversations we are having with our stakeholders and every Ghanaian. As we always do, we partner with the media, and we need our information out there as much as possible and as often as possible.
Right. Let's look at timeline. Do we know how long this engagement is actually going to take and when finally the actual ban is going to happen?
Yeah, thank you. It will be difficult for me to talk about timelines here because the responses we receive from stakeholders will drive how fast this phase out will happen. But as I said, we just have to start, and we are on. We would work as fast as we can. We'll do as many engagements as we can in this short period. So let's look at somewhere next year. But then I can't be sure the exact month we are looking at.
Okay. Let's talk about enforcement. I know you are a very busy woman. We don't want to keep you here for so long. You've already set up certain, barriers to ensure that these products do not get into our country. Beyond that, what enforcement strategy are you going to put in place to ensure that this becomes a success?
Yeah, I think the main one, we start at the port of entry. So the EPA is physically present at Tema Port. We're gradually opening offices at the other landed ports like Aplao, Elubo, Paga ports. So we ensure that we don't get the imports of goods that are not allowed in the country or that do not are not compliant to our environmental laws in the country. So styrofoam is one of those. We are not allowing its importation. We have some produce from the manufacturers in the system in the country. We are engaging the manufacturers as well.
All right. So lastly, the alternatives you spoke about, the aluminium foil, for instance. Is there any arrangement to get it as an immediate replacement? Maybe you speaking with local producers or import. We need some clarity on that one.
Yeah. Actually, our preferred option is the paper, which is biodegradable, not actually the aluminium foil. But in the meantime, we allow the use of both paper and aluminium, but we prefer the use of paper packaging. We've seen companies using these paper packages for food, and very soon we are going to name and, should I say, praise or commend those companies very soon. We are compiling the list. Some restaurants, some hotels are using paper packaging, and even the manufacturers of these paper packages. We know that currently Ghana Rubber Company produces paper packages for use, and they have already gone the alternative way to rubbers, and this is what we encourage in the system.
Thank you so much, Professor Kluche, for speaking to us here on The Pulse. Now, let's bring you back to our earlier story. The Greater Accra Regional Minister is cracking the whip on metropolitan, municipal, and district chief executives, handing them a 2-week deadline to repair all broken street lights within their municipalities. Now, addressing the media at the Regional Coordinating Council here in Accra, Linda Oklu stated that the RCC has secured 3,000 street lights, which will be shared among the MMDAs, with each receiving about 100.
Through engagement with the Ministry of Energy, I am pleased to announce that we have secured 3,000 street lights, and every MMDA will receive 100 pieces. It doesn't mean that the fact that we are giving, we are not going to purchase. The Assembly must also purchase some in order to make sure that all the streets within your district are what? Are lighted. Let me be clear. You have 2 weeks only to ensure that every single one of those lights is fixed. No excuses, no delays. I will personally monitor this directive, and let me serve this notice. Any chief executive who fails to comply will be exposed and reported. If you cannot manage this basic task, then you have no business occupying that office.
Linda Oklu also cautioned MMDCs against abusing their offices and resources. She has warned them not to assign personal assistants to perform official duties or not to turn their offices into grounds for partisan engagement.
Some of you have surrounded yourselves with personal assistants who have virtually taken over your official responsibilities. If you have decided to bring PAs, let them be clear. Their roles is strictly to help you organize your schedules, manage your time, and provide administrative support. Your PAs are not to approve documents on give mates and not to represent you at official meetings. This must stop immediately. Assemblies cannot run by unelected, unappointed individuals hiding behind your authority. Furthermore, I have reports that many of you have also turned your official offices into party meeting grounds, filling them with unauthorized officials and visitors, while your staff, the very people who are supposed to lead, are denied access to discuss official matters. This is abuse of office and is unacceptable.
Let's now take you to Gbenyere because the Member of Parliament for Wa West, Peter Lanchene Tobo, has paid a courtesy call on chiefs in Tuna, Kalba and Sola in the Sola, Tuna, Kalba district of the Savannah region as part of efforts to help restore peace in Gbenyere and its surrounding communities. Now, the MP, who was accompanied by the Dagaba chief and elders based in the Savannah region, has been speaking and explaining what the visit actually was about.
So I found it necessary to join my brothers from the other district who are just right standing behind me. And we need to make some moves. So as we stand, we are going to visit Tunaura, pay a courtesy call on him, take some pieces of advice, golden nuggets of course, and we'll move to console our brother, the Kalbaura. I know everybody living within the Kalba chiefdom are sons and daughters of Kalbaura. If he loses one soul, it's painful. And we need to go and so console him. From there, we are going to move to Solaura. And we'll do what is necessary. But all we are saying is that let there be peace. All we are saying is that let's reflect on history and ensure that our peaceful coexistence can be reactivated once again. We don't need this. Our enemy is poverty. Our enemy is deprivation. Our enemy is lack of development. I'm sure if you travel from Accra to Tuna, as I stand here and you pass through the road, you will appreciate the fact that the enemy is not one of your brothers. Your enemy is not one of your sisters. Your enemy is to ensure that this place develops.
Well, at the Tuna Palace, the chief of Tuna, Safo Amantana, welcomed the MP's intervention and assured him of his commitment to ensuring peace returns to Tuna and its enclave. He further appealed to all parties in the conflict to embrace peace and lay down their weapons.
This fight, I emphasize, is needless, completely needless. If you take our situation, our poverty situation, if you consider it, you will never fight anybody. Why should we fight? And like I said, which I'll repeat, let's give what is Caesar to Caesar and what is the Lord's the Lord. And let everybody be in his or her lane so that there will be no foul play. Even in boxing, there's foul in boxing. Let us stay at peace. I appeal to everybody here in this constituency, and particularly in my town here and environment, that no fights, peace, let's love one another. Let's grow, let's develop as a people so that our health, our roads, our schools, even what we eat will improve.
Away from that, cocoa may be Ghana's economic lifeline, but its processing remains one of the most energy-hungry stages of the value chain. Producing a single kilogram of chocolate generates an alarming 13.7 kilograms of CO2 emission. At the Climate Talks dialogue held yesterday at Fair Afrique, Ghana, Experts urge cocoa processors and farmers to embrace energy efficiency and waste-to-energy practices that will not only protect the environment, but also secure Ghana's global competitiveness. There's more in the following report.
Ghana's cocoa sector must go green and fast. This was revealed at the Climate Talks Dialogue, where the Managing Director of Fairafric, Michael Mamunham, urged regulators and processors to ditch the culture of fault-finding and embrace collaboration, warning that only shared responsibility can drive real accountability and sustainable waste solution in cocoa processing.
There indeed isn't a clear demonstration of support for compliance, and rather it is a situation of having to find faults. The cost of implementation of these innovative waste management and energy efficiency models must be truly just on the books of the processor. And so you're asking yourself, because at the end of the day, the key objective of every business is also to make. We do not take it lightly when we partner regulators and other support groups like Rebuild, for example, who are providing funds for us to buy cocoa from cooperatives that are inculcating dynamic agroforestry practices.
On her part, Acting Director of the Ghana National Cleaner Production Center, Letitia Abrakomiaba, stressed the urgency for processors to research, invest, and commercialize waste-to-energy solutions.
Our shells, most of the companies are using them to fire their boilers, their furnaces, but the residue that comes from it is ash. Sorry, I'm going to the waste management thing, but it also provides an opportunity. That ash contains a lot of potassium that can also serve as fertilizer. So there should be research, and then there should be investment, and then let's see how we can commercialize these outputs from our processes for our industry.
The Acting Director General of Monitoring and Evaluation at Cocoa Board outlined Waste to Wealth initiative, including recycling cocoa husk and ponds as practical ways to sustain farmers' livelihood, especially for those whose income are cut short by diseased trees.
However, the pod itself can go through the potash, can be turned into potash, which is also used as animal feed, can also be used as fertilizers, livestock fertilizers, and can also be turned into soap usage, which we consider as a livelihood, additional livelihood for the cocoa farmer.
The future for green cocoa processing is a gradual stage, but today's dialogue makes clear that Ghana must start now through collaboration, innovation and investment to secure both the environment and the competitiveness of its cocoa industry.
Still on the environment, the Minister of State for Climate Change and Sustainability, Isifu Seidu, is calling on African leaders to unite in demanding debt relief mechanisms to fund climate action. According to him, the continent cannot be expected to finance solutions to a crisis it contributes the least to. He made a call at the Watch for Climate Summit here in Accra, where stakeholders gathered to discuss building resilience in water, sanitation and hygiene systems. Our reporter, Noella Karinyale, has more in the following report.
Here at the Urata Hotels in Accra, government officials, industry experts and development partners are meeting under the theme Strengthening Water, Sanitation and Hygiene Resilience in the Face of Climate Change. Now, the summit put together by WaterAid Ghana in collaboration with the Ministry of State for Climate Change and Sustainability is also disseminating information on research work done on how vulnerable communities are coping with climate risk. The Climate Change Risk Vulnerability Assessment conducted across 5 districts in the Upper East region, including Boko, Bongo, Nabdam and Kasana-Nankana, revealed worrying outcomes for communities already grappling with erratic rainfall, water shortages and declining sanitation infrastructure. Program Manager for Wash and Climate at WaterAid Ghana, Engineer Richard Ntibri, highlighted these findings, stressing the urgent need for targeted interventions.
Actually, one, there are key gaps around infrastructure. The infrastructure we have in the areas of study are not resilient enough. When I say they are not resilient enough, they are designed to deliver what services, but when the impact of climate change hits, they are not able to sustain the service. Okay, so you have a latrine that would not be able to deliver, allow people to use when there's a flooding, because either access to the latrine is compromised, or even the toilet itself is filled with water. You have water systems that in the dry season are not able to deliver water to the people that are using it. So in that case, you have a WAS system, but you don't have a climate resilient WAS system that will stand the test of time when climate impact strikes. Yeah.
Minister of State for Climate Change and Sustainability, Honorable Isifu Seidu, outlined his ministry's vision for tackling climate change, pledging stronger actions to safeguard water and sanitation systems nationwide.
Building on this foundation, I have set forth a clear vision to establish a climate change and sustainability hub, a center of excellence that coordinates research, policy, innovation, ensuring that knowledge from initiatives like Wash for Climate informs national planning and global advocacy. To institutionalize climate change and sustainability units across ministries, departments, agencies, metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies. These units will mainstream climate action into every sector of our economy. What we are doing currently in our ministry is to make sure that we're able to cross the dots from all the ministries, because climate change affects almost all ministries that we have in Ghana, the 22 ministries and beyond.
He also called for a united front amongst African leaders in pushing for debt relief mechanisms, which he believes are crucial for funding climate action on the continent.
We all know that these effects that we're grappling with is not the cause of we in the developing countries. It is a function of somebody in far away somewhere in the globe attempting to develop their nations. And we in vulnerable countries, we in West Africa, are now grappling with the consequences of somebody developing his country somewhere. So why do we go into capital market, into bond markets to raise money to be able to build community resilience? Somebody must be responsible for that. So I want to use this opportunity to champion that we need to have one common voice as Africans. We need to have a voice that will speak to the initiative of developing climate debt forgiving mechanism that will help developing countries that are worse hit because somebody has developed his country. It is important for us to begin to speak this language and work towards it and fight for it. It is part of climate justice.
Stakeholders here agree that the fight against climate change cannot be won without resilient water, sanitation, best hygiene practices and systems. From the Wash for Change Summit here in Accra, I'm Noella Kareniali, and this is Joy News.
Interesting there. That's all we have time for here on the pause. But before we go, let's take you to myjoyonline.com and look at our top stories there. To win 2028, we must not walk, just talk unity. We must live it. That from Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia as he urges the NPP. And this evening, Joy News hosts national dialogue on Ghana's opioids crisis tonight here on the Joy News channel. And Ghana, Singapore ready to chart a new path of prosperity. Ablakwa, and many, many other stories making the headlines there on myjoyonline.com. Thank you so much for watching. I sat in for your regular host, Elton Brobe, and we'll catch you this evening at 7 p.m. Bye-bye.